Hey friends, I'm Dr. Andre J. Lewis, and I am excited about another season, another episode of From the Text to the Table. Today we're going to be talking about delayed, denied, or developed, understanding those waiting seasons and unanswered prayers and trusting God's timing for those prayers and how God develops and answers those prayers. I think all of us have been in those seasons, a time or another, where you've prayed and talked to God and asked God to answer a particular prayer, and it just seems as though God is taking his time. It's not like an Amazon order where things come immediately, but we literally have to wait on God. And I think all of us have been in those seasons. And so today, as we have that conversation, I brought my friend and brother, Marcus D. Wiley, comedian extraordinaire, but also a friend and brother. We go way back. Welcome, my brother.
Thank you for having me.
Yes,
I like it in here. Come on, somebody.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Listen, man, we're going to talk a little bit about prayer and just kind of being delayed, denied, and just feeling as though God is kind of putting our prayers on hold.
Yeah.
I want to talk and dig deep into that particular conversation. And I know that I think all of us have kind of had that instance and time in our lives where we felt as though, God was taking his time. And,
Yes.
it just seems as though he's doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
He's doing it on purpose.
For sure.
Before we jump in, into this deep conversation, let me ask a question. What's one of the funniest church moments you ever experienced while traveling or performing?
Funniest church moment I've experienced thus far. This pastor teeth came out when he was preaching. That's probably the funniest thing I've seen in church. Yeah.
The whole denture?
The whole denture. But he caught him though. So let me know he used to be an athlete. But he was an older pastor. And he was tuning up. The old pastors, they tuning up, getting ready to close, and hiding them teeth can. He caught him right there and just popped them right back in his mind. And closed that thing. I went on, killed Jesus, and brought him back to life, and let everybody know he coming back again.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Because that's old pastor.
Yeah.
You got to take him to the cross.
Nobody like Marcus Wiley. Listen, let me ask you a question. I mean, you've made people laugh all over the country.
Yes.
You're international now. You're all over the place, and I appreciate what God is doing in your life.
Thank you.
I've seen it personally. Tremendous father, tremendous husband, just a tremendous person.
Thank you.
And I appreciate you in that regard. But to get where you are now, and I remember when you first started. So I'm gonna ask you, I think, a very personal question about prayer. You make people laugh, and you've been seeing God do some amazing things, and you're in what I call your due season, right?
Yes, sir.
But let's go back to the times you prayed.
Yeah.
And it just seems as though God wasn't answering you.
Yeah.
Talk to me about a moment in time where you prayed and it seemed like God wasn't answering.
Yeah. So what's crazy, when I prayed, I'm coming from the beginning when I first started doing comedy. My prayer was, that I wanted to be, as big as I could be. I wanted to, make as much money as I can make. I'm just being honest. These type prayers I prayed. But I also prayed, Dr. Dre, that if it was going to cause me to lose my family, don't give it to me. If it's going to cause me to get on drugs, or anything like that, I don't want, I'm just saying this be in my prayer. I would pray these things. I don't want it because I don't want it that bad, and so, believe it or not, I kind of even though it seemed like it took God a minute, I understood it because I understand, man, I just ain't ready for it. People ain't ready for what we think we ready for.
Right.
Now, I'm in these clubs and all that type of stuff, and it take a special somebody to go in these clubs now. The temptation is okay at the church. It's great in the club. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, this, ain't no armor bearers around to hide you in the clubs. And so my prayer was always just, man, make me ready for it. And I guess when the answers was no, I just took it as I wasn't ready. Yeah.
One of the things, just kind of, hearing that, I guess play out and then seeing it play out in your life.
Sure.
We hear this church phrase, all the time, God's time, and it's God's time,
Yeah.
and we say that to people when it's their issue, but when it's ours, we don't want to hear nothing.
We don't want to hear
timing. And so when you hear the phrase when it comes to prayer and waiting on God, when you hear God's timing, because obviously there was a time frame from when you were starting out your comedic act to moving to where you are now. It took some time.
It took a lot of time.
It took some time. So talk to me about God's timing in your life with prayer.
Yeah. So again, I like to say God is the best knower, because when I was at my funniest, early in my career, I thought, what's up, God? I mean, I'm ain't gonna get no funnier than this right now, But, because I was looking at it then, I got blessed to be on Yolanda Adams' morning show. And when I got on that, I'm thinking, okay, well, now I'm getting ready to move to maybe be hosting the Stella Awards, maybe the Dove Awards, because I'm in the Christian world. And God is like, he sat on me like, no, cuz, like that ain't for you. And so, like, we have to say God's time and we have to receive it, my opinion, because it will frustrate you. I'm looking, and the frustrated part is looking at other people who, and I hope this don't sound too bad, who I know I'm funnier than. Without a shadow of a doubt. And yet they were getting some of the things that I'm asking God for, that I'm like, hey, God, this should be me, man. I'm the dude.
Yeah.
And, and so, again, I always have to remind myself, God is the best knower. And he know that, maybe if I get this right now, it's not going to turn out well for me. And so I just try to, when I get frustrated, because I did get frustrated, but I always try to remind myself, in due time, in due season,
Yeah. I think the other thing too is, I'm listening to you say that, and I'm thinking about my own life and talking to many people and over the years and counseling. And I think the thing that's more frustrating than anything is when you know how serious you are about where God is leading you, what God is doing in your gift.
Sure.
And then you end up looking at people who are not as serious.
Oh, man.
Don't study as much.
Oh, man.
Not a student of their craft.
Come on.
And it seems like every door is opening for them.
Every one of them.
Every last one of them. And they're trying to figure out, well, God, now wait a minute.
Yeah.
We trying to, let's be real now.
I've been with you.
I've been with you. You saw what I gave up.
Yeah.
And so now we're frustrated about watching people excel, and he's opening doors for them seemingly. And then you're sitting there saying to yourself, now wait a minute, this timing thing is starting to irritate.
Yeah, right.
Because you watching people. I remember a season when I first started preaching, and you and I were around because I was at New Faith when High D started.
Yes,
right.
Yes.
And I remember, when I first started preaching was 1999, and that church launched in 2000. And I remember how it just blew up. Ministry, everything around it blew up for about 10 years. It was the church.
Oh, it was.
In Houston, and even in the nation. It was just doing some phenomenal things. And I remember how frustrated I got in a season of my career. And I'm just like, I hung out with these boys.
Yeah.
I was around them, And so let some of that fall on me. And it just seemed as though it didn't. And literally 17 years later.
Come on.
Is when I was walking in my due season from something I prayed for literally almost 20 years earlier.
Yeah.
And so that was.
And people need to know that. And another thing they need to know, I was not jealous or mad at the people that got it. I'm just going, what about me though?
What about me?
Yeah, because it's room for everybody.
What about me?
But what about me?
What about me? Now, do you think, because a lot of times people, we what I call hyper procrastinate our thought process on what we feel about God. There's a passage of scripture in Exodus where it talks about the people murmured against Moses,
Mm-hmm.
but when you read it in this original Hebrew language, they really were murmuring against God.
Gotcha.
So they, in other words, they were mad with God, but they took it out on Moses.
Yeah.
I think about that in prayer seasons when we are mad with God,
Yeah.
and we take it out on everybody else.
Yeah.
Because we've been
Wow.
taught you can't be mad at God.
Yeah.
We've been
Can't-
taught
yeah.
you can't question
Can't
God.
question God.
And
Yeah.
so we turn those questions into frustrations with people. Were there ever a season while you were waiting that you got frustrated with family?
I'm sure. Yes. I'm gonna tell you one, and not too long ago, well, let me start here. My father, the pastor, he said something to me years ago when I was getting ready to marry Erica. I told my dad, I said, man, if I had money, I would marry her. And my dad said, well, what if it ain't in God's will for you to have money? And I said, well, why would God do me like that? I mean, that type of God we talk about, I don't think he'll do that. But my dad was like, basically, you have a type of personality, whether you have it or not, you good. He's like, you that type of person. You the life of the party. You always, smiling and joking, having a good time. And God need people like, so I understood what he was trying to say, but I was like, nah, God gotta give me, I need to get some money. So now fast forward, social media hits. When social media hit, that's when a lot of the social media comedians, men and women, who couldn't get on a stage, but they could get on their social media, and they blew up. And now it's like the stage went down and the social media went up. And so I was very frustrated because I was not on social media. Okay. And my wife kept saying, you got to get on here. This is what you got to get on. This what people who doing it. Oh man, and Dre, boy, this was almost terms for divorce right here. Because hey man, don't tell me about what other people do, all of those type of stuff. But it was that season where I was asking God, I was like, hey God, this ain't really my thing. Being on, so I'm not about to do skits and hey, this mother wine. That's really not my thing. And it was dead. It was silent for me. In this moment. But also it was in that moment where I wrote Marriage and Major Surgery, Grown Great Forgiven, which I performed here at the church. Recorded it and all that. And so, even though I was being frustrated, I was frustrated definitely by my wife. And she meant well, but it was in that moment to where even though I was looking at it like, but I still was doing something. I wasn't just being mad and being stagnant. I was being a little mad, a little frustrated, but still working. And then that became, what it became.
So let's attack some of the cultural sayings of the church that have kind of like, infiltrated what we believe about God that's not even Bible.
Okay.
And I think one of those is, we've been dealing with this idea, we've been hearing all our lives that he's shaping us, he's molding us, he's doing something in us when we waiting. And for most of us, we're honest about it. That whole molding and I'm waiting and I'm struggling. I'm eating, peanut butter sandwich,
noodles
and ramen noodles and stuff. My sodium high, all of the above, brother. And you start getting frustrated because it's like, what is he molding?
What is he?
What is he molding? I'm humble already. And so,
What
have you found about yourself that you thought spiritually, I'm here, and this waiting season is so frustrating, and you can't see it, but now that you're on the other side of it, do you believe that God was molding something in you?
Whew. As it relates to my career,
Your career.
Being a church boy, I can always make it work. I can always find, an answer. But I do think I do believe that the reason why he had me, or that I wasn't where I thought I should have been early in my career, maybe it's because I didn't have something to say the way I have to say today. So don't get me wrong, though I was funny, my daddy used to say, if you get opportunity to say something, you should say something. So though I was being funny and people were laughing, maybe I wasn't helping nobody though. Maybe help you laugh, but I wasn't helping. But now the way my comedy has shifted, doing a lot of relationship, a lot of marriage type things, and being able to pull out little messages within the joke. Now I get way more, hey man, you saved my marriage. Hey bro, I was thinking about calling it quits till I heard you. Right. Hey, me and my wife been separated. Now I'm going back home because I heard you. I was about to kill myself. You know what I'm saying? So I hear way more of that today than in the early time. It was just, boy, you funny. And so I don't know if that answers the question, but I think maybe that's what he was working in me. That's what he was doing to me. He was getting me to get some substance about my material.
Yeah.
To help people.
So then lived experiences
most definitely
is the molding.
No doubt.
So the lived experience, so God gotta let you live through it.
Yes.
And that living through it moment is what's molding.
Is what's molding is, yes.
So now in your dad's terms, you have something to say because you lived through it.
Because you lived through it. Sure.
So what have you lived through? I'm full of questions.
Go ahead. I'm ready.
What have you lived through in this season that and you and I live close to each other. So I could talk about living through COVID.
Come on.
And what that felt like for both of us. I remember us going to the store and different places and kind of
hanging out in the backyard.
Just kind of walking through life. And I think we both kind of were at a standstill trying to figure out what's next. And during that season, I remember how frustrated I was because it seemed like, every day was a faith walk because we didn't know what the church was going to do.
Sure.
And everything that I, have developed, everything that I learned, everything that I was taught didn't prepare me for COVID.
Yeah.
Because I had never been in a season where the church doors were closed.
Yeah.
I'd never been in a season where we were in a pandemic and people were afraid to come to church.
Yeah.
And my predecessor and those before him had never been in a season where the church doors were closed. And so I think spending time with you and others in the backyard, just kind of trying to navigate life.
Sure.
We all struggled with the idea of what is God up to and why is he not answering my prayer?
Yeah.
And COVID lasted almost 2 years.
Yeah.
And so he let us wait for real.
Really wait.
And now that I'm on the other side of it, I think what he was really molding in me is to trust him in every season.
Come on.
Meaning that, even though you don't understand, I'm not asking you to understand. I'm just asking you to trust. And so I think there's a part of prayer that requires not only faith, but it requires trust.
Sure.
Which means that if I am feeling delayed, if I'm feeling denied, if I'm feeling like God is not answering, then we have to lean to trust.
Yes.
And so what have you learned to trust about God in your waiting season?
I've learned to trust that God is grown. Watch this here. And you know what grown people do? They do what they want to do, when they want to do it, and how they want to do it. You know this story, but I shared with your audience. In the pandemic, if we can go back to the pandemic, I ran out of money. I was, I had rainy day money. I didn't have rainy year money. You know what I'm saying? Like the pandemic showed me, boy, you ain't got no money.
Yeah.
And so money dwindling, don't have the same amount of shows. And so I go do a church in Birmingham, Alabama, towards the end of the pandemic. A pastor was transitioning his church to his son. And I charged them, and I'm just giving this out so I can show you how God has grown. I charged them $7,500 for the weekend. So they had a transition service on Friday. I kicked it on Saturday, played ball. You know, church, they got a big church, all that. Then on Sunday, I performed in the 2 services. Mm-hmm. Well, after the first service, the pastor gave me $500 out of his pocket. He said, "Hey, Mark, I just want to use some extra money. Man, take your wife out when you get home. Man, we just love you here. Thank you for sharing your weekend with us." Mm-hmm. So I go prepare for the second service, and they was like, "Hey, they want to give you some extra money." I said, "Oh, the pastor already gave it to me." Mm-hmm. They said, "Oh, okay." I do the second service. Now I'm selling my merchandise in the lobby. His son, who now is the pastor, brings me an envelope. He said, "Marcus, we want to just do something extra for you." And I was like, "Oh, I thought what pastor had gave me was." He said, No, this what we want to do. Gave me an envelope. They take me, I'm through selling, I go to, because I'm getting ready to come home. I go to the airport. I'm in the restaurant at the airport. I said, "Man, let me open this envelope." Mm-hmm. I done got extra before. $1,000 extra. $1,500 extra. Man, I opened that envelope. $22,500. Man, I couldn't stop crying. Mm-hmm. This was a $30,000 weekend. Mm-hmm. Watch this. I'm in the pandemic. Mm-hmm. It was, man, it wasn't even though the money needed it, but it wasn't even about the money. Mm-hmm. Because I also remember in the pandemic, I'm seeing all these other comics doing their thing, and I'm wondering, has this passed me up? And God, just that moment right there showed me God was like, "I'm grown. I do what I want to do. Stop tying my hands. Yeah, don't box me in. Yeah, don't thank you. Don't thank you. You able to trace me and all this old type of stuff." Mm-hmm. And man, since that moment, I'm not gonna lie, man, that moment it opened me up. And I am all the way on the trust train now.
Yeah, you on the trust train.
I'm on the trust train. You ain't got to worry.
Support.
You ain't got to worry about me wandering and all this old type of stuff no more. Yeah. Because in my time of uncertainty, in my time there, man, he showed it to me.
Yeah. How has that affected your personal life in terms of what you say? Like my wife now says, sometimes she gets upset with me because when there's some kind of tragic moment in our lives, some kind of trial or testing period, I'm quick to say, "We got to trust God, baby. We got to see up." And she's like, "Andre, I don't want no church. Ain't don't preach to me. Girls don't preach to me." And I'm like, no, this is what I have learned about who God is. And so I think sometimes it's one thing to have a lived experience and see God work, but it's another thing to have a lived experience and really see it, which is what happened to you.
Yes, sir.
While you open that envelope, God had to show you that I'm a provider.
I'm a provider.
And what you worrying about, I've already made a plan.
I already got a plan.
6 months ago, you didn't see that gift.
Didn't see it.
And so what that says to me is that trust is not about what you can see. It's about knowing who he is.
Knowing who he is.
And I think one of the greatest molding tactics of God during those seasons of being delayed is not really teaching you what he can do as much as teaching you who he is.
Who he is.
And when you know his character, that's just like when you hear something negative about somebody who you cool with, you down with.
Yeah.
This your boy from Lana Lane days.
Yeah.
You understand? Everybody don't know what Lana Lane days.
That's the Lane courts, baby.
Yeah. And so, you looking around, you like, they said so about, this guy, and you like, nah, I know him. And that's what I think God is trying to point us to. He wants in seasons when the world is saying this, when life is saying this, he wants us to be bold enough to say, even though it ain't happened yet, I know him.
I know him.
Oh, we go way back.
Yeah.
And I think that's what God is pointing us to. Let me do a personal journey piece, and a reflection piece. When you did comedy or do comedy, when did you realize that your comedy, and we're talking still about delayed and denied, when did you realize that your comedy was no longer a performance but a ministry?
The people, man, they always telling me you preached. I know you were fun, but you preached. I'd be like, bro, I ain't know. You know you've been called. I have not been called, okay? I know people that's been called, and I have not been called. And you know, so I think it was just when all of the, people again felt like maybe something I said tonight, it was something that they needed to hear. Oh, and it's something that may help them. Man, I get people who, of course, inbox me and all this type of stuff, email me, and they using something that I may have joked about, but definitely, I because I pretty much perform so much in churches, I used to, you can't go to somebody's congregation and undo all the things that they've been doing. I just had to find ways to be funny, with it. And so, yeah, so I've been doing that. It's been some years now. I mean, that, it's bigger than just the jokes. Some people might call it, that's what I like to say. It's just, maybe it's bigger than the jokes. But some people are, it's ministry. You've been called. And I'm always a little hesitant on that because I don't want to be called.
Yeah.
I don't want to pastor nowhere. I don't want to do nothing. I don't want to preach.
Yeah. We often talk about, and because we have a personal relationship, I think I could touch this.
Yeah.
I want to touch this because I think this is going to turn the hearts of a lot of people. And I know it's going to probably make you tear up.
Uh-oh.
So take a sip. Yeah. So I want to look back at a moment to your joy, your son who you are well pleased with. Who, you already know I'm going. And those of us who are close to you know you. I think that was the most serious time that I've ever seen you at.
Yeah.
And I'm not going, and if I could use this word, pimp the story.
I got you.
I'm going to let you decide how much of that story in respects to what you want to reveal.
Sure.
You want to share in regards to when you prayed and it seemed like God was silent in a season when not only you needed him, but your child needed it.
Yeah. So I'm assuming we're talking about when my son had open heart surgery.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So he was 7 and he was experiencing some chest pains, and of course we was like, I'm thinking, your mama just cooked something, didn't sit right, which, ain't no big deal. And but we were at Great Wolf Lodge. This is when it dawned on us, because he had been saying it a couple of times just in the backyard. And then it dawned on us, we might need to go take him to the hospital, because it was at Great Wolf Lodge and all the kids were swimming and he was sitting on the bank. And we was like, hey, what? It's like, man, my chest. So it was like, let's not be irresponsible.
That's right.
So we took him to the hospital. He had a little malfunction, it wasn't, anytime you got to crack your chest open, it's serious.
That's right.
But the doctor's trying to, it's not a hard surgery. It's just some things they needed to correct, yada, yada. And this was a hard thing for me because, you know the Lord and believe and you got faith, but you don't know if it's going to be all right, though. I mean, meaning if he going to live. And I remember I was on tour. I had to come home. And when I got to the hospital, my son, he looked at me and he said, am I gonna die? It messed me up, man. I couldn't, because I don't have no answer. And it's hard when you a father and you don't have no answer, for your child.
Yeah.
I mean, I can lie. Yeah, you good. I mean, I can say, but I'm saying, but typically I talk how I feel. And right now,
you don't have it.
I don't have it, bro. And so, I told my son, I just basically told him, man, God got you and we out here praying and, yada, yada, yada. And so, so anyway, Chase went, did the surgery and, Well, he's still here. And so, but but it definitely was that thing right there where, you have no control.
Mm.
My money can't buy this one. I can't fix this with money. I can't fix this with who I know on earth.
Yeah.
But I hopefully be able to fix it with who I know,
Yeah.
in heaven. And so, yeah, but that was,
Yeah.
because
It was tough.
because it ain't nobody tapping you on the shoulder saying he's gonna be good.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
you believe, and my faith, never wavered, but I've been in church all my life. Sometimes good people and innocent people or just whatever, things happen where God called them home.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? And so yeah.
Yeah. And here we are, 11 years or so later.
18 now.
And he is one of MVP and of the league, and and he did a phenomenal job his senior year at Iowa Colony.
Yes, sir.
I got to watch him grow up.
Yes, sir.
He out here wheeling and dealing.
Yes, sir.
I mean, I want to say better than his daddy. He is wheeling and dealing.
He has better skills than
Yes,
his father.
does. Yes, he does.
Definitely has better skills.
Yeah, he's a maestro. He reminds me of Sam Cassell. Sam, yes, who he reminds me of.
Yes, sir.
Phenomenal job.
Yes, sir.
Let me close out with, I think, which is real important here.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you for sharing that story.
Boy, tried to tip me up.
Yeah, I saw you got a little worked up for about 2 sessions. Yeah, you're strong though. Yeah, you're strong. Sometimes the prayers we think went unanswered were actually God protecting us. We talked about God shaping us. We talked about God preparing us.
Sure.
I think it's important to our audience to answer this question.
Okay.
What is one prayer you actually are glad that God didn't answer? Think good now. Yeah.
Hit him. Might be a lot of them.
Yeah.
It's a lot of them from who I probably wanted to marry.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? No disrespect to her, but I appreciate him closing that door. And then
Oh man.
I mean, definitely in my career, one thing, Dr. Dre, we always want to be a part of. I'm talking, and when you a comedian, you want to be on Hulu and Netflix and all this type of stuff.
Yeah.
And so you look at that and you kind of pray, that because that seemed like you want to be a part of the machine. And I'm glad because my first few projects that then went big, it's been independent.
Mm-hmm.
It's been independent. And I'm glad for that because I'm glad he blocked them because it let me know I can do it on my own. Of course, with him, with him definitely making everything work, but I'm just saying on the surface level, without them. And I'm glad he blocked it because they don't own me.
Mm. They
can't tell me, okay, you can't do nothing for 2 years and all this type of stuff. And so I'm glad about that, because people be like, man, you should be on that. And I'd be like, man, y'all don't know what come with being on that, And so, I would say, definitely with the wife, he blocked them other ones.
Yeah.
Didn't answer them prayers.
Man, well, listen, in closing, friends, I really, appreciate you coming and being a part of what we do here and just kind of sharing your stories and being real and relevant. And it's good to be real with people who are real people.
Yes, sir.
And I appreciate you. And I want to affirm that, you know, God is doing an amazing thing. You may not never be on Netflix. You may never be on an HBO special.
Yeah.
But I believe, not just because I know you, but because I know that you have a heart for what you do, that I believe the best is still yet to come.
Yes, sir.
I believe God is going to do some amazing things.
I receive them.
And let me preach for 2 minutes. Eyes have not seen. But I look forward to seeing how God is going to bless you. And I do think, and just seeing that God has protected you, he shaped you, and he's prepared you for such a time as this. And so that's a word for all of us who are listening to this podcast, that God is doing some amazing things. Marcus, thank you.
Thank you.
And us today, man. I appreciate you. Friends, this has been another From the Text to the Table. I'm Dr. Andre Lewis, and I thank God for you who are viewing with us today and listening with us today. This has been Marcus D. Wiley, comedian extraordinaire, friend and brother beloved. And we look forward to another episode again of From the Text to the Table. Have a blessed and phenomenal day.